Chapter 1541. Trust but verify. So, to verify, this is just a recreation of something that the World Dragon Temple used to be able to do? One of the warriors asked, double-checking the safety measures. It is. Sadly, it's only a small portion of what a full temple should be able to do if it were made by a supreme or a legendary cleric. However, this one function is one that everyone in the clan is likely to need at some point. Carl agreed. Someone called for the serving bunnies to bring over more food, and Carl tried not to laugh as he realized that they served the entire table while standing in the safe spot between him and Dana. The others didn't seem to notice. They just accepted that the plates appeared in the middle of the table and enjoyed their second breakfast while they waited for Carl's group to be ready. All right, folks, let's head over to the Obelisk and see what it can do. That got everyone moving and coincidentally stymied the attempts of the green dragons to sneak up on Brother Chin, who had circled in front of Carl to stay out of easy reach. Perhaps because of the dragon, they had a large procession of clan members following them when they headed back to the World Dragon Temple. The 10 volunteers, the green dragons, and a bunch of curious onlookers who wanted to see how the efforts of one of those two groups worked out. The best part, in the minds of the spectators, was that Brother Chin was actually friends with most of the green dragons, so he didn't have a particularly good reason to avoid them, other than knowing that they were obsessed with small and cute things. Well, it's impressive, I will give it that much. The runic writing on it alone must have been a real chore to do. But how is it supposed to work? The druid asked. In theory, you just have to place your hand on it and activate it. Then, it should move you into a separate space to make your choice so that you are not attacked or interrupted while you are lost in the system interface. Carl explained. Oh, that is a convenient feature. You never know when someone holding a grudge might try to sabotage an advancement opportunity. Presumably, that meant that it was difficult to tell who might be holding a grudge because Carl could nearly guarantee that there was at least one person in the crowd who had already considered trying to ambush or interrupt someone attempting to advance their class. How do we determine who goes first? One of the warriors asked. Do you need a demonstration? I don't think that I qualify, but I can show you how it's supposed to work. Carl offered. No, if you vanish into some system interface limbo and don't come back for hours, how are we supposed to know if it's broken or if you just got a great opportunity and don't want to share? Dana rolled her eyes. The immortals really did have a different mindset. The mortals worried more about the risks, but their hesitation was more about the odds of getting something really valuable if they went first, versus the odds of being mugged for it when they got back. Finally, one of the green dragons got bored and rushed past the group to go poke the new thing. Carl laughed as the short woman hugged the large stone pillar, then vanished. Well, we can say that it works. And that you all talk for too long before you make decisions. The druid smiled. I figure that she actually did pretty well. For a 15-year-old green dragon, waiting one whole minute had to be painful. Moments later, the dragon was back and extra excited, even by green dragon standards. We need to celebrate. Give me the dragon. Carl laughed as he handed her a startled Chin, who was promptly spun in circles as the cleric laughed. Chin, I got a new class. A whole new class. I'm no longer just a cleric of the green dragon, I am a nature guardian. It's almost a druid, and I get cuddly things and a super awesome new skill. Brother Chin laughed along with her. That's very exciting, Jenna. You have to show me these cuddly things that you get. They should be the guardians that the class was named after, as the nature guardian class wasn't an unknown one, it was an advancement down the druid path. If she can do it, the standard shouldn't be too impossible. She's only just finished learning a few extra skills and barely reached the entry of Spirit Immortal. One of the warriors whispered. But she is a cleric. It's a holy relic, they always get some preferential treatment. One of the others countered. That was hard to argue against. The green dragons had excellent luck. But Jenna had more than most. She had managed to get her hands on a copy of If Not Friend, Why Friend-Shaped when she was still little, and she had been abusing it since then. Even by green dragon standards, it was a miracle that she was still alive. Chin took flight, so the cleric would focus and cast her new spell, which she did with a huge dramatic twirl. A single immortal rank dire bear appeared next to her, and the dragon cheered for herself before hugging the furry beast. Well, now it really will be impossible to get her to do anything productive. One of the warriors sighed.
Carl shook his head.
Actually, it will help. Giving them a giant bear lets them get their fill of fluff in advance, so they're ready to go on adventures when everyone else is. They don't get nearly as sidetracked if their basic needs are fulfilled. And how is that a basic need? I'm not entirely clear either, but followers of the Green Dragon have a particular affinity for giant bears. Chapter 1542, Advancing Classes. The druid snorted with laughter and patted the bear on the head as he walked past. Carl made a good point. Jenna would certainly be much more relaxed than the average green dragon if she could just nap with her summoned bear all day long. That was half of the species' basic desires covered. Then, if they got to help plants grow and go on adventures to see new things, it would be so much easier to keep them happy. But that was someone else's problem. He placed his hand on the obelisk, and the world vanished around him as he was pulled into the class change option. The first thing that he noticed was the option to advance to the Nature Guardian class, the same as Jenna had done. He would be approaching it from the other side, as a druid with extra healing skills. But the class was the same. He wasn't going to pick it, it was not the path that he was on. Though, it was amusing to see that it was an option. Instead, he focused on the combat-focused classes, as he was normally the one in his group who took the duels when they were challenged for a resource spot or dungeon. Druids were great at it, as they could transform into a much stronger beast form. But their true value to a group was their versatility. Being able to transform and take hits, gain special skills from their beast forms, as well as heal made them perfect for any situation. Even if they were traveling alone, they wouldn't suffer nearly as many of the hardships as many others did. Plus, there was one other advantage. Being attuned to nature, they were much better at detecting rare magical resources than others. For an immortal, especially one from a merchant clan, as he intended to remain with a new home clan for the foreseeable future, unlike many others who preferred to take the opportunities that they could find to increase their growth rates, it was an essential skill to be able to find the best deals and hidden treasures. His final decision was the Feral Protector class, and once it was chosen, he left the menu and felt his body returning from wherever he had been relocated to finish the process. "How did it go, Jacob? Did you get a new class?" a warrior asked. "Indeed. I got the Feral Protector class. Big bonuses to my transform states and more defensive skills as base class skills, and then it gives me the chance to get even more skills from the trees that I might not have been able to use before. These advanced classes are really good. Go ahead and go in. I don't see any issues with trying. There doesn't seem to be any risk. It just activates the class selection menu for you. It might be something that you should be able to do on your own, but I don't see an option in my system interface." That sent the warrior running for the obelisk to be the next inside, but half a minute later, he returned with a sour look on his face. "I think that I need to wait. The only option it gave me was Paladin. One single option. But it said that I could come back when I asked, so I'm gonna go try to learn some more varied skills." One of the others shrugged. "I don't object to the Paladin class. It's a healing tank, which is an improvement. Trying to kill those assholes in a challenge is a nightmare. Every time you think that you have them down, they just bubble and vanish or heal themselves." The immortals all laughed at his sour tone. But then the second warrior went to use the obelisk. If he came back as a paladin, it wouldn't be a loss to his group. This one was gone for longer than the other warrior was, and when he came back, he looked much more excited. "The system had some good options for me. It looks like all those health regeneration skills that I took paid off, and it gave me the Blood Knight class," he explained. "What even is that?" one of the others asked. "It's a self-healing warrior class. Enhanced healing on hit, healing as a percentage of damage done, life leech, all the good stuff." "Oh, now we're talking. That is going to be great when we go out to the trial grounds. You'll be able to hold your own in any sort of duel, as long as they don't one-hit you." The warrior laughed. "I doubt that they'll manage that so easily. But if they do, then they likely deserve the win." One after another, everyone queued up to go inside and try their luck. Everyone who tried the obelisk entered the menu, as they all had a world dragon-related system. But not all of them were happy with the options that they were presented. They either weren't significantly better, or they didn't go in the direction that the immortal had wanted to. Many of them had taken skills based on what was cheap or what they got as a reward in trials. So, they didn't always have a skill set that qualified them for the particular sorts of advanced classes that they were hoping to see, which meant that they were going to have to pay for expensive, rare, and epic skills to get the class advancement that they wanted. That was going to take time to gather the payment for, but it was also going to put a strain on the skill repository once the warriors started to learn what skills would qualify them for certain high-demand classes. With so many of them in the clan, the demand was going to almost immediately overwhelm the supply of skill books. The mages, on the other hand, were much more pleased with their options. They were all about the damage, and as they had focused on the spells that were best aligned with their fundamental rule comprehension, they were already on their way to an advanced class. How good it was depended on just what opportunities they had gained, but none of them failed to find a class that they found suitable to replace the base mage class. Chapter 1543. Reset and Restarted. Carl poked Brother Chin. "Hey, little dragon, do you have your class skills capped out?" Chin huffed a small burst of golden light. "Not anymore. It reset all my class skills when I was reborn. I'm working on regaining the skills that I learned manually, but all my skill points and class skill options reset when I entered this new body. I'm just lucky that I have a class at all. If I were any smaller, I would have had to wait. Hell, if I was Jeff, I would have had to wait. He was bigger than this when he got his class the first time. Jeff is going to have a tough life again, but for an entirely different reason." Carl agreed. Chin laughed, his tiny body twitching with amusement. Yes, being the beloved pet of the most notorious catgirl in the entire clan is not going to be easy on him. He got used to having her hit on him years ago, but now that she wants to mother and cuddle him, he doesn't stand a chance. He's too small to reject her advances, and she's gone full maternal mode. It won't be all bad. He's got someone looking out for him. I don't know how some of the others are going to fare. You've got a full team that supports you. Jeff has Nyan, but a lot of the others who were reborn were just cronies and errand runners for one of the factions. They didn't have good friends like that. Chin's wings fluttered as he shrugged. Well, that's the hazard. Besides, they're unlikely to be targeted again. They already lost, and while they were rescued, the other clans will assume that they'll need time to rebuild any sort of respectable wealth. I would worry more about you going out. You successfully rescued them, and that's going to paint a target on your back the moment that you step back outside again. You and your friends. The sex don't forget quickly. The immortals waiting their turn all laughed at his understatement. They were immortals. Some of them would quite literally hold a grudge forever. Angering people in this world meant a possibility that even a century later, someone might ambush you to get even for a slight they had remembered from a lifetime ago. There were even cases where someone had worked for over 1,000 years just to get more powerful than their perceived nemesis, only to realize that they had been totally forgotten by the time that they had gained the power they were seeking. Most of the warriors who came back out were coming out as new classes, but Carl saw that there were two now who had chosen to delay their advancement until they had a better set of skills. That would be disappointing to their teams. But the Obelisk was also gathering a crowd, so they might not be short on volunteers. "How many times a day does this item work, Avatar?" one of the members asked. "I have no idea. It will stop when the gods will it. Then start again when they decide it is time." Very obscure, but I get your point. You made it, and it relies on divine will to activate the system interface, so you don't actually know the answer, do you? Not even a vague hint. In theory, it should just keep working. So, a large portion of the clan might be able to advance out of the base immortal warrior class. At least the ones from this world, or a world dragon-based system world. Carl agreed. So, we're going to be flooded with blade masters and paladins instead of warriors? They are the two easiest to activate. The mage sighed. Well, if it doesn't have a daily cap on it, I will get in line and try my luck. I've got a pretty good chance of something better than basic mage. What did you specialize in? Carl asked, chatting to pass the time as he made notes on everyone who came out. Fire. I mastered the fundamental rule of fire. Hawk cheered, startling Dana, and everyone standing nearby. The mage laughed. Right, Dark Fire Phoenix. That demon crow form messes with me, and I forget that he's more than a simple support pet like the rangers have. Hawk nodded, and the mage tossed him a bit of fire element candy. This guy isn't half bad. You're too easy to bribe. Kara reminded him. Whatever, he likes fire, and he gives out candy. I know you like candy too. Other than the druid and the first green dragon who had gone in, there hadn't been any real surprises among the classes so far, Carl noted. Everyone was learning the same set of skills, the ones that were the most useful in their expected combat scenarios and daily life. They didn't want to distract from their progress with irrelevant skills, so unless they had gotten it from a trial, they didn't waste time or resources on other stuff. It was a sad situation, no matter how happy everyone was about the situation. Then Min, the cashier from the supply warehouse, made it to the front of the line and vanished inside. Oh, that one should be fun. She was a druid, right? She's learned a lot of strange stuff trying to find a way to make more friends among the beasts. One of the warriors laughed. Where is the old goat? One of the others asked. He's teaching class right now. Once the kids are out, he will likely make it over. Why do you call him a goat? Dana asked, unsure who they were talking about. Oh, it's one of the teachers whose horns curl like a mountain goat's. It's quite unusual even for an obsession demon. He's one of the older immortals in the clan, even if he's only just started into the void stage. He's learned all sorts of techniques, trying to find one that worked for him. Actually, we should drag the moron over here. Perhaps if he changed his class, he would see the light and become less of an idiot? Chapter 1544. Preventing Incidents. The man known as the moron becoming coherent enough that he no longer earned his nickname seemed like a long shot. But Carl wasn't going to argue with the idea. Even if the odds of success were minimal, it would be a kindness to get him onto a path that actually let him progress. Carl felt a familiar presence behind him and turned to see Elders Socrate and Malcolm approaching the growing group. Elders, did you want to advance your class as well? We're over 30 tests in now, with no glitches or errors. We have had a few rejections, as some warriors didn't want to pick the paladin path, which was the only one available to them.
Carl greeted them.
It works? That is wonderful news. Indeed, we will give it a try. However, that is not what we came here for. You have finished your public service hours as ordered by the clan court. You can consider your debt paid, and Elder Fersham insists that there will be payment for your obelisk coming later. According to the clan rules, as it was erected by you, though it is a free service to the clan members, you will be rewarded with clan credits for its use while leadership determines if access should be regulated to prevent incidents. Incidents. Kids trying to advance early, silly bets, or bullying others into choosing an undesirable class. That sort of thing. What Fersham was thinking was to station a pair of clerics in front of it with a truth spell to make certain that everyone is entering of their own free will and desires to change their class. Elder Malcolm explained. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. I never thought about the chances that someone might try something so underhanded. It would totally destroy someone's future if they were forced onto an unsuitable class. There are no do-overs and no going back once you have chosen. Though no class is really useless, they're all designed for some niche, and it might just require a change of mindset to fully embrace them. Back in the mortal worlds, I knew a very gentle mom friend, sort of woman who awakened the Berserker class. It was an adjustment for her, but she's come quite far now. Elder Socrate nodded. It would be a bit like Remy getting a class that was incompatible with alchemy. Being a shaman works wonderfully for her, but if she was a warlock or a necromancer, it would be a tragedy for her progress. The magic of the classes interferes with the necessary processes for alchemy at the immortal rank. It doesn't happen often, but it wouldn't be the first time that a warlock finally reached immortality only to realize that their trade skill was now entirely useless to them. Elder Malcolm chuckled. Warlocks have it hard. Remember Layman the Grand? Elder Socrate laughed. Oh, that was great. His grand patron was a low ascendant rank immortal. 3 weeks after he arrived in the immortal world, the warlock was bragging and annoyed a supreme ranked dragon, who killed his patron and left him powerless. Can you imagine what it was like for the patron, though? The guy got murdered for knowing a braggart. Carl joked. He should have known better than to actually help his disciple reach the immortal realm. Most who take warlocks under their wings just get them to peak mythic rank, then drain the warlock's life force to fuel their own advancements. It's not like a mortal realm contract has any meaningful limitation on a strong immortal. They can just break it at will, leaving the warlock without any skills or external power. Note to self, the warlock class is not a good recommendation. Oh, the one through the system is safe enough. The gods don't care enough to stop you doing what you can to ascend. Perhaps if you do manage to get to the peak of demigod rank as a warlock, they would do the same. But for us, mere immortals, we're too weak for it to be a real risk. Min came back out with a huge smile on her face and ran over to greet Carl and Dana. Thank you so much for the obelisk. Greetings, elders. That is such a great function. It's like the system thought it was so obvious that anyone should be able to do it, but we all forgot how to access it. She rambled. What did you pick? Dana asked. I picked the Forest Stalker class. It's a super cool invisible cat form transformation-based skill, Druid Advanced class. Almost a rogue-type druid. Now, I can sneak around when I'm out gathering resources and not be bothered at all. And the fact that you're now able to be huge and fluffy didn't enter into the equation? You should see the tail. It's almost as long as the body and so huge and fluffy. Yeah, I suspected that might be part of it. How large is the Forest Stalker transformation? Dana asked. About the size of a panther? About 150 kilos. Not huge, just big enough to go anywhere. But the skill tree is wonderful as well. It's got a bunch of nature-related skills and assassination-style attacks. A bit of all the good stuff. Somehow, the super excitable pink-haired druid didn't seem like the sort to go for assassination as a specialty, but Carl reserved judgment. Druids were supposed to be in tune with nature, so perhaps she had a finer appreciation of the hunting arts than her personality suggested. Then, the obelisk encountered its first rejection. One of the young immortals tried to activate it, and began swearing at his system interface. What the fuck do you mean insufficient skills? I've got my skill tree full. How can it just deny me a new class like that? He was shouting. Do you at least have one more skill from the repository? Someone asked, trying to be helpful. Why would I waste money on that? My special skill lets me buy skill points with cash. I've bought out every skill that I can know. He screamed. Carl chuckled and then patted Elder Malcolm on the shoulder. I'm afraid that it might be time for you to work soon. It looks like there is going to be a fight. The elder smirked back at him. Oh, and who do you think will be fighting? It won't be long before he remembers that you made it. In that case, I should go get a mop and bucket. Chapter 1545. Keep the peace. One of the warriors nearby overheard Carl's joke and rushed over to stop the angry rogue before he could do something that he would regret. Given what happened the last time that someone challenged Carl in public, they really might be cleaning his opponent up with a mop. He might not particularly like the man, but he was part of the same hunting team, and he was a reliable member who would always have your back, as long as you didn't try to cheat him out of loot. All right, calm down. I will take you to the skill hall to pick out a new ability. All we need to do is find you a strong specialty skill that points your new class in the direction you want to grow. No big deal. You're just missing one quest item to complete the requirements. That seemed to calm the man down, and he quietly apologized to the man that he had been arguing with. This place is going to be a new attraction. I can feel it already. Min joked. The secret ability of stealth classes, gathering gossip. Carl agreed. The green dragon laughed. That's not a secret. Plus, I don't need to go places to get gossip. I work at the warehouse. Everyone brings gossip to me. That's because you don't give us any hassles about the quality of the supplied materials if you get a dose of gossip with them. One of the warriors reminded her. It's a good system. You know, you really should give that thing a try. Your class hasn't changed since you arrived here in the clan, but you've got so many skills already. Min suggested. You're not the first to say that. I just think that I need to tweak my skills a bit more before I change classes. I've got some good stuff for certain, but I feel like I could get something truly exceptional if I can just get one more skill. Carl explained. Is there a reason for that? Just wanting to explore the skill repository? Dana asked through the mind link. I've got a boatload of skill points built up and a talent to buy new skills. I haven't even used it yet, and it seems like a waste to change classes without seeing just how powerful that skill could be. He also hadn't tried to cap out his other skills or add extra beast spaces with Blessing of Family. But it was the Blessing of Skill that was the real point sink. Blessing of Skill creates one random skill. Cost varies based on rarity. 1 point for common skills, 5 for rare skills, 25 for epic skills, 50 for artifact grade skills, 500 for legendary skills. How many points do you even have? I know that you were stockpiling them. Dana asked. Available skill points, 205. I've got enough to get at least a few more skills and then bump up my damage buff skill a bit. Why do I see this ending badly? Dana asked, already seeing Kara's imminent celebration. Nothing had even happened yet and the Badger was getting excited. That never ended with anything resembling a calm outcome. In fact, it might end in some sort of natural disaster or unexplainable celestial phenomenon. Don't be so down on it. You're bonded to him already, so it might be a new epic skill for you. We can get a whole bunch of them. Kara suggested. Or, hear me out, we could get 2 artifact grade skills and then put 100 points into more damage. Ray countered. Oh, that's not bad. An extra 100% skill damage buff would be pretty nice. But that only leaves us enough for 4 epic skills. No, we should get the 2 artifact grade skills. Artifact grade is best. Or, at the very least, it was the best that they could afford. It was the great conundrum. Quantity over quality. Ray wanted the chance at something huge and impressive, while Kara wanted as much chaos as possible with 8 different epic grade skills. We should probably save some points for the new class, right? Thor suggested. If they were going to advance, then they were going to need points to get new skills. It would suck to have a whole new class and not be able to get the benefits because you didn't have any points. Oh, that's a good point. We could get the skills later. We don't lose the skill, but we have all the class abilities in their base form, so we should be fine to change. Ray reluctantly agreed. What if there was something even better that needed a lot of points? What is he delaying for? One of the freshly upgraded warriors asked. I think that he has something left to buy in his class tree, since he's so new. He might be weighing the merits of waiting versus buying it now, and rushing to the Obelisk before he's done all he can to guarantee a better upgrade class. One of the others suggested. Fine, skip the points into damage. Or like half of them. No, skip the bonus damage points. We can get more damage later. It's better to have cool stuff now. Ray relented. Your sisters are influencing you. Thor informed her in a dry tone. Says the man who spends all his days sparring or lounging in the hot springs with his girlfriend. It's not much, but it's an honest living. Dana let out a snort of laughter that most assumed was about the conversation around her. Thor's laid-back personality really wasn't well suited to a rush to immortality. Even if he wasn't struggling to advance, he was in no rush to get ahead and put Tessa another rank behind him. Dana couldn't blame him. He had a good life in the tiny world, and while it was sad to see him separated from the majority of the team, he was a great addition to the rest of the guild members now that she had advanced. Chapter 1546, Spending Points. Carl stared at the Blessing of Skill ability, wondering just what course was the best, as there was no consensus. Epic would have a better chance of giving something to everyone, but artifact grade skills were typically absolutely broken. For example, Remy's 1,000-year flood could now generate 10 million cubic meters a minute. The scaling at Immortal had been absolutely insane, enabling her to generate as much as a large nation's daily use over the course of a minute. It was a slow-building skill, but if she kept it up for even an hour, it wouldn't be difficult to fill an average-sized city to the top of the city walls. Truly worthy of the name of the skill now that she had reached immortality. However, that wasn't the greatest use of the skill. When she combined it with Thunderstorm, she could saturate the ground in advance and hide the approach of the floodwaters until it was too late for anyone to run from the incoming disaster. You know, getting like 40 rare grade skills is an option too. Kara reminded them. That would be hilarious, but they wouldn't be likely to be powerful enough to entirely change someone's fighting style. That was what Carl was hoping for here. A signature skill that would shape the next class option that he got. How much further he could go on this class chain, now that he had reached the status of Avatar, was a mystery. But there had to be something. He had just entered the immortal realm, so logic dictated that he should be able to start on a whole new path of abilities that would let him start building power as if he were a beast master freshly born into this world. That might not be how it worked, given that he had advanced his class multiple times, and it was a rare one to begin with. But it did make sense to more than just Kara. 1 artifact, 2 epic, save the rest of the points to see what class we get. Final offer. Ray insisted. Ooh, a compromise. That sounds fun. Do you think that I'll get one of the new skills? I'm almost big enough to be immortal now. Tion cheered. He was still half-grown, but he was much larger than the tiny ball of fluff that they had first encountered. All right, that is what we will do. Do we start big or start small? Start small, finish big. We can't have premature congratulations. Dana rolled her eyes. Get on with it, everyone is starting to think you're crazy. Sorry, I'm just sorting through things I want to finish. Give me half a minute. Carl explained. Blessing of skill activated, generating random epic grade skill. Skill generated, tribulation chain epic grade control skill. Binds the target in tribulation lightning. Deals 600% skill damage as lightning and holy damage if the target attempts to escape. Damage causes agony effect. Oh, that wasn't bad. The damage if they tried to move was immense, and it would punish them with pain for trying to escape. Skill learned. Skill book generated. The world has a new skill. Wait, it doesn't just give us a random skill. It creates a new skill. Damn, we should have saved up points to get the super good one.
Kara realized.
Not bad. A Thor-flavored skill. But it is good for the Dana mage too, to keep things from trying to hit her. Tion cheered. Blessing of skill activated, generating random epic grade skill. Skill generated, soul harvest, epic grade skill. Drains immortal essence directly from the immortal body or immortal spirit of the target or targets in the affected area to feed the power of the caster. Skill learned. Skill book generated. The world has a new skill. Ray wiped a tear from her eye. It's beautiful. Absolutely stunning. Is it possible to fall in love with a system? Dana stared at the spider. That skill was 100% going on every single clan and sex forbidden spells list the moment that they found out that it existed. The problem was that the ability taught Carl the skill and made a book, which meant that Ray already had access to the soul harvest skill. She was not the most excited one, though. The hate was doing happy dances in Carl's mind. That was a skill that it could use, and it was far superior to the old draining effect that she could use. It was basically the immortal ranked upgrade to the draining abilities of the Haint and the Sword of Champions combined into one skill. Forget just killing them. They could steal their life, their soul, and their progress as an immortal all at the same time. Using that skill for even a short time would cripple an enemy permanently, even if they were left alive. Alright, that's 1 for Thor, 1 for Ray. Come on, lucky system roll. Come to puppy. Last roll. Bring me that sweet artifact grade skill. Tion cheered. Remy giggled. If anyone was going to get a cool new skill at the artifact grade, it would be funniest if it was Leo or Opal. Leo was still a hatchling, still learning how to operate even in his own space. But giving the new skill to Opal might actually force her to go outside and do stuff. Or at least send her avatar to do it for her. Opal looked up from her new reading material, acquired from the World Dragon Temple. If it was going to force her to go outside, the real world was going to need some upgrades. The graphics were spectacular, but the gameplay experience was terrible. Too slow-paced, not enough romance. Dana sighed. They were definitely going to have to do something about Opal before she became a lost cause, or a complete shut-in. She was already most of the way there, and she hadn't even reached immortal yet. Kara pulled out a drum from her pile of loot. Dum-dum-dum, and now for the grand finale. Blessing of skill activated, generating random artifact grade skill. Golden light exploded from Carl's body as the skill activated, and that sense of being watched by the divine returned, filling the clan with dread. Skill learned. Skill book generated. The world has a new skill. Carl frowned at the delay. He should have learned the name and ability of the skill before that message. And he didn't have his book yet. Chapter 1547. Ostentatious Display of Wealth. Golden light pierced the sky, surrounding Carl's group. From the clouds, a massive skill book descended, and Carl frowned at the theatrics. The first two had arrived without any fanfare, but now the entire clan knew that he was getting a brand new skill book. That was not what he was trying to do here. Skill generated, Breath of the World, artifact grade crafting skill. When used during crafting, imbues items with the power of the world dragon, increasing quality by 1 grade. When used on magical items or resources, improves quality by 1 grade. Hidden effect, when used by a world dragon or world dragon avatar, can be used to create sentient items, imbued with system functionality. If used on a non-sentient or nascent magical beast, this skill will trigger immediate evolution into a sentient form 1 rank in potential higher than its base. Holy shit. Elder Socrate breathed as he stared at the skill book. The laughter of the gods echoed through the clan, and many of the immortals fell to their knees in shock, intently focused on the skill book floating in the air in front of Carl. We totally should have saved points for a legendary skill if an artifact-grade immortal skill was going to cause so much entertainment. Kara complained. Everyone gathered around to see the new skill, which Carl carefully plucked from the beam of light, which faded immediately. That skill. Is that why you were hesitating? Elder Socrate asked. It was. Beautiful, isn't it? Now, once I learn this skill book, I should be able to advance my class. NOOO. Wait, please wait. I will pay to have a copy made if we can find a suitable inscriptionist for such a project, and for the delay in your progress. Just don't use that book yet, the elder begged. Teasing Socrate is fun. Remy giggled, forgetting that she was draped around the elder's neck. What do you mean teasing? Carl cleared his throat. The skill that generated the book will let me try again when I get enough skill points. It's an excellent skill, but not my last chance to find the right skill to advance my class. So, I suppose that if you're truly serious about it, I could sell this artifact-grade immortal skill book to the clan. The other immortals struggled to wrap their heads around that idea. How much would something like that even sell for? It was the sort of secret skill that you built an entire clan around. Hell, most minor clans didn't even possess an artifact-grade secret skill. How did you put a value on that? Yeah. We need to talk to the clan master and the Council of Elders. Elder Socrate realized. More elders pushed through the crowd, separating Carl from the crowd, just in case someone got ideas about claiming the book for themselves and making a run for it. Much to their relief, Carl put it in his inventory after a few seconds and set his hand on Dana's back to bring her with him wherever they were going. If not, Ray would likely insist that Dana got a chance to advance her class while Carl was busy, and he wanted to be there to see it. They would all get their advancements eventually, they just needed to take care of business first. If the clan leader is not convinced that it would be suitable for us to purchase the book, do you have any plans for what you might do with it? Elder Socrate asked, slightly concerned that they might be losing one of their prodigies so soon. If there is a Darklight Host branch on this world, I will sell it to them. Putting it up on the guild market first is always my go-to option. If there isn't, then I will hold on to it until I find a suitable crafting specialized group with the resources to make good use of it. I doubt that will be necessary, though. The new home is a merchant clan. And what is better suited to a merchant clan than a skill that lets you purchase mediocre quality goods and sell top quality? It might have some extreme requirements to actually use the skill, but for those who can, it's practically a license to print money. The alchemy elder suddenly realized that the skill had implications far beyond simply crafting better stuff. It could improve magical items and resources by 1 grade. The only remaining question was whether anyone could use it. The most precious skills were the hardest for anyone to learn. It kept them rare, but the alchemy elder thought it was more like a divine test to see who was willing to alter their whole life to get what they wanted. He wouldn't give up alchemy if the skill required a specific trade skill or no trade skill at all. That just wasn't who he was. They made their way across town to an ancient pagoda-style building with an immaculately landscaped yard and a half-dozen bunnies in bright white dresses rushing around, keeping everything in perfect order. Clan leader, we have an urgent matter that requires your attention. Elder Socrate called, then motioned for Carl to wait patiently. She's not always in the house, but she can hear when you call. One of the other elders whispered.
Carl could see that the clan leader was in.
Or someone at the supreme rank was in the house. After a few minutes of silence, he saw the clan leader's soul shift, and the person vanished, only to reappear in front of them in the garden. I would assume that this is either a genuine emergency or something earth-shattering if you've pulled me away from my training. The surprisingly young-looking woman demanded. This young immortal has an artifact-grade skill book. He is willing to trade it to the clan, and we need your approval to make a change that large. You will understand when you see the book. Elder Socrate explained. Breath of the world. That is astounding. And you are willing to sell it to the clan, instead of making a name for yourself establishing a new clan of your own? She asked suspiciously. Carl nodded. I like money as much as the next guy, but I have learned a valuable lesson in the past. I am far too irresponsible to be left in charge of an entire clan. Chapter 1548. Artifact Negotiations. The clan leader laughed at the earnest expression on Carl's face, as well as the confirmation in Dana's grimace. So, you wish to get wealthy by proxy, setting up the clan with a secret skill that will let us gain an immeasurable edge in the sale of trade goods? What do you want in exchange?
I am a reasonable man.
I won't ask for more than a fair tithe. 10%. The clan leader stared at him, and Carl stared back. Right, Beast Master, intimidation doesn't work. Not enough functional brain cells for self-protection instincts. I filled that section with cupcake recipes and runic languages. Carl agreed. The clan leader gave him a genuine smile, while the elders took a discreet step away from him. All right, come inside, and we can talk. Bring your wife, but leave the badger in her separate space. I will not have her loose in my house. Ray laughed as Kara grumbled. There was a lot of good stuff to examine in this house. Stuff she had never seen before. And that was precisely why the clan leader had banned her from the building. As a supreme-ranked being, she didn't particularly concern herself with most things going on around the clan. That was for the elders. But this was her personal residence for many thousands of years, and she was not going to let the badger reorganize her belongings. She wasn't worried about theft. She could easily enough retrieve anything that Kara took, but having to put everything back in its proper spot would be a nightmare. They all sat on cushions around a low table. So, start from the beginning. I know that you were a branch leader for the Darklight host. You can't be entirely incapable of leading. So, why are you willing to sell such a valuable skill? Well, if she wasn't going to pretend that his reason was a good enough one, Carl knew that he was going to have to go into a bit more detail. I could keep it with me until I've grown to near peak immortal, then start a sect of my own. That is true. But it also made a huge spectacle when it appeared, so if I do nothing, everyone will know that I'm holding on to an artifact-grade skill, but very few will know what it does. That's not a great position to be in. Now, I can use the skill, so I'm not actually losing out by selling it in the short term. I have it, the clan will have it. You are supreme, I am a new immortal. If the skill becomes public and generates envy, it comes back to you, not me. You've got the power and the leadership position to keep things stable. So, I want to sell this to you, to better the clan. The clan leader sipped tea as she stared at Carl, bemused by the fact that her intimidating aura didn't affect him at all, even when it made the elders sweat. I can see your point. There is definitely more to your plan, I suspect. It would not surprise me if you can do that one more time, and you simply reserved it for later, when you have the power to make better use of it. However, I will agree with your plan. You're right that it will be an amazing skill for the clan. Being able to upgrade our cargo before delivery will make some of our merchants fabulously rich. There are obviously risks that come with making the skill a hallmark of the clan, but I feel that I can handle what is going to come when news of the skill gets out. I will agree to your price. Carl smiled. That was everything that he had hoped for. Perfect. In that case, this is for you. Carl agreed, then handed over the artifact-grade skill book. The clan leader held the book for a second, and a slow smile spread across her face. I can see it already. This is going to be a game-changer for the new home clan. I can't wait to see the look on that old bastard from the Almixii sect's face when he finds out. I knew she was one of us. Carl laughed. All right, we have our agreement. You will get your cut from the markup, paid in clan credits. Dana gave the clan leader a disapproving look, but the woman just shrugged. What? I agreed to pay, and the clan credits can be used to buy anything that the clan has access to. They're as reliable as anything for currency, but only usable within the clan. Dana noted. An added bonus, indeed. It should help keep the Carl, as his title calls him, under control. Though I suppose the issue is mostly convincing him to keep his beast friends under control. Would you believe that psycho from the PDA has sent me 43 messages about the lipstick that went missing from her pocket during the duel? Kara dropped it out of her space into the woman's hand. It's an awful color anyhow. I should have known you would have it. No, the Badger had it, didn't she? There is no word for property rights in Badger. You really do know about them. That's a bit surprising. Most people only know the stereotypes. Carl joked. The advantages of having been around for a long time, I suppose. Plus, I spent many years before I moved to the sect hunting in the monster wilderness of the Valalan League. Well, that explains why you understand magical beasts so well. I have found that the magical beasts of the immortal worlds are a particularly unique bunch. Carl agreed. The sect master laughed. Not all are like the Chaos Badger, with a clear mind and sentient thoughts. Honestly, I'm surprised that your phoenix was before he evolved. Most bird species are not known to be highly intelligent. Haha, she called you a dumbass. Chapter 1549. Call the Council. Wait here a moment while I call over the Council of Elders to inform them of this change. It's going to take a concerted effort to get enough copies of this skill made and distributed within a year that all the major merchant elders within the clan will have it. The clan leader announced. Carl cleared his throat. There is no guarantee that they will all be able to use it. I don't actually know what the limitations on the skill are. They're not listed when I look at the book. So, you might want to prepare them for a shift in the power structure as well, if only some of them can get all the resources that this skill will generate. The clan leader nodded. That is a good point. Not all of them have systems from the same world. So, they might not all be compatible, though skill books are usually pretty universal. I don't see any restrictions on who can use this one, so it might be anyone, or it might be that the restrictions are user by user. If your luck is terrible, it might just be you that can use it. In that case, you will have very little private time without someone wanting you to work. Carl chuckled. If that's the case, I will find a way to make a magical item to automate the process. Oh, wouldn't that be chaos? If you thought that the Obelisk to bring back one of the lost functions of the system stones was causing an uproar among the members, you should try it and see what an artifact-grade skill placed on an item will do. Carl smiled, and the elders gave him nervous looks. You wouldn't do that, would you? Elder Socrate whispered. Oh, he would. And he would put it in your front lobby, just so that people don't come to his house looking for it. The clan leader joked. The alchemist made a protective gesture, while Remy laughed hysterically. The elder looked down at the tiny Naga. Being your friend really is a dangerous proposition, isn't it? We could put it behind the counter in the clan warehouse. That would be fun. Let them turn in the stuff, then upgrade it before they put it away. The other elder looked horrified. Do you know what that would do to the inventory system? Half our members would never be able to get the item they needed because it was upgraded after delivery. Then the elder paused. The Badger is cheering right now, isn't she? She's currently arguing with her brother. She will laugh about the chance to mess with inventory at the warehouse later. The elder shook his head. We're getting off track. Even if it is actually possible to inscribe that sort of effect onto a physical item, it's better that such a thing never gets made. Many things in this world are not a matter of if we can, but if we should. Dana sighed. She could hear all the voices in Carl's head, and none of them understood the concept in the same way that she would expect a human to. In Ray's mind, the concept meant closer to I can if I want to. Remy considered it to be more of an advisory warning that there might be consequences, such as angry volunteers. The sound of soft shoes announced the return of the staff, leading elders into the room. Clan leader Narissa, you said that there was urgent news? The first elder to enter demanded, looking annoyed to have been interrupted at whatever he was doing. Once everyone enters. I'm not explaining this 10 separate times. The elder didn't look happy, but he did take a seat at the low table and silently wait for the others. Another elder entered, saw the situation, and silently took a seat to wait for the others. Then smiled and turned to Elder Socrate. That is a particularly unique accessory you have gained. But you should likely know that she is brewing a fertility drug under your chin. Remy laughed and held up her small bundle of herbs. Close. The base ingredients for fertility drugs are the same, but this is actually a long-duration regeneration pill recipe. I'm just prepping the ingredients to go in the pressure cooker later. The elder laughed. The alchemist will cry if you call an alchemy cauldron and crucible a pressure cooker. But prepping in advance and not inside the cauldron? That's a unique technique. Remy nodded happily. We discovered that some of the ingredients are actually more effective if they're prepared before insertion. Other than this step, it's all the same as the others are doing. It wasn't. Not even close. But Elder Socrate wasn't going to out her as using runic alchemy to enhance her recipes until they had more ready to go to the market. Their new 10-hour bestial regeneration pills were going to be a huge seller at the alchemy hall. He was certain of it. However, the other elder wasn't wrong about them having an invigorating effect on users. A few minutes later, they had 20 elders gathered in the small room, and the clan leader nodded. This should be everyone who is here today. Let me introduce you to the Breath of the World artifact grade skill. Some of you are already familiar with it, as you may have seen Immortal Carl receive it earlier today. He has agreed to sell it to the clan for use to increase our profitability and as a hidden secret skill for our acolytes. I believe that it will help retain members within the clan instead of going independent or joining other merchant clans after their training. Carl has agreed to take no initial payment, but instead agreed to royalties from profits made using the skill, payable in clan credits. The elders frowned at that news. Nobody liked paying out royalties, and with the description of that skill, there would be a lot of profits to be made. Chapter 1550. Suspicious Motivation. And what would motivate him to sell us such a valuable skill? One of the elders, a six-armed obsession demon, asked. An abundance of caution. At my progression, there will be a lot of time between getting that skill and being able to defend that skill from outsiders. It's better for me if the clan has it, even if I'm not the only one able to use it anymore. Now, everyone who is compatible will be able to learn it, use it, and I will get a small cut of the profits, payable as clan credits for the crafting materials and resources that I need. It's a winning proposition in my book, and it provides ongoing income. Carl's explanation made sense to the elder, and he could see the group benefit to gaining notoriety among the clan members right from the start of your journey. Nobody would willingly let another clan or sect steal Carl away when he not only knew the clan's secret skill, but could potentially do it again and give another clan a similarly powerful benefit. He was practically the goose that laid golden eggs. The elder did notice that he was a member of the Darklight Host Guild as well. That group of immortals was not to be taken lightly. They were not active on this world, at least not in large numbers. But he was a well-traveled man, and on hundreds of other immortal worlds, the guild varied from a few outposts to the dominant force, and from his memory, it had dozens of demigods among its planetary guild leaders. If they were active here, that guild tag would be much more terrifying, but it also presented a unique conundrum for the clan. Did his presence here mean that the Darklight host was expanding their reach to a new world? Or was he going to leave once he had enough power to stand on his own? If that was the case, then they would get the skill for minimal cost, as the clan resources paid in royalties would only hasten his departure to another location where his guild was active. Dropping promising young members somewhere relatively safe while they developed was not a new technique, and it was no secret that Carl and Dana had been personally recommended by two of the elders. Alright, so how are we going to work this? I can already see that the skill is going to revolutionize our alchemy hall, as well as the rewards from our clan hall. The number of higher-grade resources that we will be able to provide will cause many of our members' growth rates to skyrocket. Now, that's mostly beneficial to the members' training for external missions. But we might also see many of our elders advance, and I know that some of you are only biding your time until you reach peak immortal to go your own way and start another clan. Elder Malcolm noted. A few of the elders shrugged. There was no shame in it. They'd done their time and served the clan well. If they reached peak immortal, It was time to spread their wings and look for new opportunities. If they actually reached the supreme rank, there was no doubt that they would leave to start their own clan, even if it was affiliated with the new home merchants. Too many peak immortals only led to conflicts. But even two supreme rank members could lead to a fight for clan leader, and none of them actually wanted to take the position from clan leader Narissa. She was good at the job, and she had guided the clan well. So, who can even use the book? I don't see any restrictions. One of the elders asked.
We don't know.
None of us can see the restrictions, not even Carl. So, we'll have to get the inscriptionist to copy it first, and then someone will have to try to use it. Then, we will just keep making copies until everyone who can use it has it. The elders who had the inscription skills suddenly looked dejected as they realized that this was an immense amount of incoming work for them. Not just anyone could copy an artifact grade skill book and expect it to function. What happens if it accidentally activates? That is a risk of opening this sort of book, even with remote magic. One of the inscriptionists asked. Then you will be doing it alone until there is a full copy again. Clan leader Narissa replied with a casual shrug. Even if it took them a month, it wasn't impossible to make it. They just had to make sure that it was someone with inscription who triggered it. Don't you have the strongest inscription skills of any of us, clan leader? The elder asked. Narissa smiled. Yes, and that's why I am not touching the book. If it activates, I don't want to be stuck making all the copies. The other elders politely hid their laughter as the inscriptionist silently cursed the crafty clan leader. She knew the risks, and she had offloaded them onto the others so that she didn't end up having to do the hard part herself, even though she was actually the best suited to it, and the most likely to make a successful copy on the first attempt. Unlike mortal-grade inscription, copying immortal tomes was not always a guaranteed thing. Even if you got everything perfect in the translation, sometimes the magic just didn't settle properly. You needed the right guidance, the right conditions, materials, and sometimes even the right associated skills to increase the odds of success. They all had items with success bonuses on them. Carl also had similar items, intended for the blacksmiths to improve the quality of their work. But he had never seen the inscriptionists need them before, so he had never considered it. Skill books were the grade that they were. You couldn't increase it. So, the thought that the work might fail and need items for assistance wasn't a thing. Why don't we start it now? The tower is the perfect spot for it. One of the inscriptionists suggested. In her space, Kara flexed and stretched her wings. She had the perfect plan if things went sideways. Just start using "Follow me, little one" and giving out the skill, so everyone blamed each other.